Today we're going to talk about uh, interview questions. Okay, this is going to be our seminar tonight. I'm going to start with the lesson today, and I'm going to start explaining a little bit about this one here. Okay, this is interview questions, and thank you for coming to the last webinar of the year for me. Okay. Uh, Today I'm going to start explaining a little bit about what questions we ask and what are the most common questions in an interview, in a business interview, and how we respond to them. Okay? So let's continue. Let's start. The objective is, problem here, to understand and to respond interview questions appropriately. Okay, so today in this lesson, I'm going to give you 8 very common questions and how to respond appropriately. Okay, this is the objective of the lesson for today: how we ask questions and how we respond appropriately. What is the idea? What is the purpose of each question? Yeah. So first, let me introduce myself. Uh, my information. My name is Diego Peña Herrera. Okay, I'm not writing in here just in case. My name is Diego Peña Herrera. I am a teacher of English. Okay, I I have 11 years of experience approximately teaching English. I have worked at institutes, language centers. I have worked at universities. I have given classes to companies, etc., etc., etc. Schools only one year only in schools, mostly with adults. Okay. I am a teacher of general English and English for specific purposes. When I mean general English, it refers to basic, pre-intermediate, intermediate, advanced course. That is a general English, like a language center. And when we talk about English for specific purposes, like in this case, we talk about business English, technical English, engineering English, and all those computing English, those aspects. Okay, those aspects that is the difference between general English and English for specific purposes. And finally, I work as a virtual instructor, and also I give classes face to face. What is the difference? Uh, uh, I uh, I work with with like this in webinars, and I also give classes to people in companies or at universities, institutes, etc. Okay, so let's start again. Let's uh, let's move on to our to how we start those lessons. So the first question that we usually have in an interview is this: tell me about yourself. Uh, can you help me with this question? How do you answer to these questions? How do we answer to these questions? Any ideas how we can respond to these questions? Tell me about yourself. It's very general maybe, but it's very important. How do we answer these questions? I'm going to try to give you some minutes and try to give me your ideas. How do we answer this question? Yeah, okay, about virtues, maybe. It's a possibility. Very good, very good. That's an idea. Excellent. Anything else, please? Very good. Thank you for your participation, Sandra. Any other possible idea? That's correct. That's a possibility. That's a very good possibility. What else would you say? Oh yeah. It's just a layer left. Okay. Let's see. Let's see what else we got. All right. So shall I give you the answer? Yeah. Let's see. Okay. Let's see what you got. So, for example, as you were saying, it virtues your qualities exactly. So, what they mean principally, they refer to your work, to your academic experience. So it has to do with your work experience, your studies, and your personal interests. Okay? This is the most important things they ask you in these cases. Okay? They ask about your professional experience, your academic experience. So you have to refer about your previous work, your previous jobs, your studies, maybe your specializations, maybe all the things you studied, or all the work you have performed in your career. Okay. And in personal interest, you can describe the actions you like to perform, the things you like to do in your free time, but they have to be related to your work or experience. But specifically or mainly, they require about social activities. For example, going to the movies with family, or going to have fun with friends, etc. Okay, not activities that you do alone or one person only. It has to do with activities that you do with friends or family. Okay? That is the idea about this. So tell me about yourself. I repeat one more time. Refers to your experience, your studies, and your personal interests. I put this between brackets so you have an approximate idea. Okay? I have here, for example, an example. I am a business manager. I have 10 years of experience. I work in companies like, and I mentioned the names. I mentioned my responsibilities. I was in charge of 15 people. I commanded a group of people. I worked with them for etc. 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 In my free time or in my spare time, I like to work with work. I like to go to social meetings, go to go to the movies, or spending time with family, etc., etc., etc. Okay, so the first idea is to describe your business, no, your professional experience, your studies, and then you explain your personal interests. Are we okay with this information? Is this correct? Is this okay? So let's move to the other question. Then at the end, I need you to make your own ideas, okay? So we can practice a little bit about this. Next, in my spare time, you mentioned the activities you perform. I work with friends, I study with friends, I go out, go to lunch, etc., etc. Now, when I say what are your strengths, do you understand what the word strength mean? What do you understand but your strengths? Any ideas about strengths? So when we talk about strength, that's okay. When we talk about strength, we refer to our strong points, our positive characteristics, our good parts of our personality. Okay? That is the idea when we refer to this question. What are your strengths? So what are your good points? What are your positive aspects? What are your positive characteristics? Okay? So please feel free to ask. If you don't know, I'm here to help you. Okay? Don't worry. I'm here to help you. So you have a question, please. I am here. I'm the teacher. I am here to support you, to help you, to clarify everything. So when I refer to this, what are your strengths? I refer to your positive characteristic, your good points, your specific specific knowledge. Yeah. So this is the idea. Okay, so here we go. What can we say about this? You have to describe your positive characteristics at work and as a person or employee. Okay, this is the question they ask you for. What are your strengths? You have to describe you are a very patient person, you are very organized, you finish work on time, you finish with chronograms, etc., etc., etc. That is the idea, okay? You have to try to mention your positive points. First, we use an adjective, and then we give a description. For example, I am hardworking. Hardworking is a person that works a lot, that makes a very good effort. And then I finish my work on time. I follow deadlines, so I use a sentence. So as I repeat, they ask you for your positive aspects. You say, I am hardworking. That means you are a very responsible person. If you're very responsible, you describe this characteristic. So I finish my work on time. I arrive at work on time. I finish my schedule. I complete my work, etc., etc., etc. So, shall we continue? Yeah. Okay. Here we go. What are your weaknesses? So, in the previous, we were talking about your positive aspects. This is the opposite. When we talk about weaknesses, we refer to the opposite of positive aspects. We talk about the negative aspects, okay? So, in the previous exercise, we say, I am a very responsible person, and I explain the reasons. In this case, how do I say something negative about me, about my personality? This is a little like, oh, is this possible? Yes, I'm going to give you how the possible form. Okay, in this case, we give an excuse, we give a positive reason. So maybe the adjective is negative, but the reason is positive. Okay, this is the situation. The reason is negative, and the answer is positive. For example, mention the reason why it is a weakness, but something positive. Here, for example, I say sometimes I get angry or frustrated as or because I want my work to be perfect. So the first part is the negative aspect of the question, which is my weakness, and the second part is the reason, and the reason has to refer to something positive. Okay, this is the idea, something negative and something positive together. So the idea is balanced. The answer is balanced. Okay. Okay. Now let's move to the other questions. Now, where do you see yourself in 5 years? When we talk about this, we refer to, this is the question, this is what we call in English a tricky question. What do we mean by tricky question? It is like not, you don't have to, you have to be very, very careful if you want to answer. Okay, you have to be very, very careful. Why? The idea or the question is if you plan to continue or not in the company. That is the reason for the question. If you plan to continue or not continue in the company. Okay? You're going to continue in the company or not? That is the question. So the possible answer is, I have an example. I see myself, or I see my person in a management position, showing new workers how to do things here and also learning from coworkers. So if you notice, my answer here is related to the future in the company. Okay, so the interviewer is asking me if I plan to work for a long time in the company or if I only want to be for a short time. That is the difference. That is the idea. They want to know if I am going to be in the company for a very long time. Okay, that is the kind of question that we need to be careful. This is the kind of question we need to be careful about. I don't know if the idea is clear, if that's correct. Please, you have questions there? Any questions in the comments? So let's continue. Question number 5. What do you know about our company? This is a very, very important question. What do you know about the company? So this is a very, very important question. Why is this important? Because you need to prepare before you go to the interview. In this case, if you study about the company, if you read the information about the company, this is a very important point for you. This is a very good aspect because always, all the time, companies or interviewers ask you if you know about the company. What do you know about the company? What do you remember about this? Do you have any information about this company? And you have to be prepared for this. Okay? So it is very, very important to know what information the information about the company if you are applying for a job. Okay, you have an interview, you have to know about the company. You have to describe aspects of the company, the services, the products, the prices they obtain, their certifications they have, or so all of those things. It's important that you know about this company. Okay, I'm going to show you an example here. So this is the question, the implicit questions. Are you serious about this job? Do you have information about the company? So this is what they ask you for. Okay, this is what they are asking you for. So in your answer, you have to describe the good points, the accomplishment, the service or products they offer. So you can say, this is a very famous company, a very serious company. I have friends who have worked here. They gave me very good information. I am also familiar with the products they offer, and they're on top of the market, etc., etc., etc. In other words, you have to study about or do some research about the company before you go to the interview. Okay, this is something really, really important. Now, how well do you handle change? So when you say change, it refers to new situations, new scenarios in your job. Okay, so they ask you, how do you handle change? How do you how do you manage change? How do you Do you have any problems with change? That is the question. If you have problems when they change things, or if you are too familiar with if you are not familiar with the language, this is what they ask you for. Okay, this is the idea. I don't know if it's okay. So what they suggest, if that is to describe previous experiences related to this situation. Okay, for example, in my previous job, we had to change some things as the marketing campaign was not working well. So you have to describe a situation in order to explain how is a situation to explain how you can live, you can work with change when you have no problems with change. Okay, in this situation they ask you the best answer is to say that you can do it, and you have to explain a situation, to explain a change, to explain something in which you describe the idea of dealing with change, adapting to change, having no problems with change. Okay, is this okay? Is this correct for you? Is the idea clear? All right, so we have to cover number 7, number 8 before we finish. We just have 10 more minutes, okay? So let's go. Now, do you work well under pressure? Again, they ask you to describe an experience. If you say yes, you have to describe how it works well, okay? How you feel better. So in this case, I wrote an experience. There was a project that had to be completed in less time than the expected. So we worked really hard to do it, but it was an excellent product. Sorry, there was a mistake with the spelling here. We had a lot of pressure, but we made it. So if they ask you about this, you have to again describe a problematic situation, and you have to tell a story completely. What you did, how did you adapt to this situation, how did you manage this situation, how did you work with this? Okay, this is the question about pressure. This is a little bit of what they ask you for. Okay, so the idea is to tell or to describe an experience. These last 2 or 3 questions are related to your previous experience at work. Yeah, and the last one, this is the 8th question to finish the class, or to finish the 8 questions, and then maybe you have some appreciation from you. How do you make important decisions? In this case, they ask you for the steps to do or to take a decision. They don't want you to tell the process of making a decision. They ask you for the process. What process do you take to make a decision? Yeah, it is very important. First, I consult with a friend, then I talk to the manager, then I talk to colleagues, etc., 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 etc. In this case, you have to try to explain little by little, and without what are the steps you do or you make in order to decide about an important situation at work. Okay, first I do some math, I do some thinking, then I consult with somebody, then I check it carefully, and finally I make my call or my decision. Is that correct? Is that okay, Sandra? Yeah? Do you have any questions so far, please, besides the previous ones you had? Are we okay on this? Do you have any questions? Yeah, it's everything okay? All right. So let's review very quickly about this class. So the objective was to understand and respond to interviews with appropriate answers. Okay. As you see, I already mentioned my information. I forgot to write my name. My name is, I'm going to write it here. My name is, uh, this is my name. I didn't put it, I forgot to put it on the chat box, my on the presentation. Okay. I already mentioned my information. The first question is tell me about yourself, which refers to work and academic personal experience and personal interest. Here we had an example. Question number 2 had to do with your strengths or your positive aspects, positive parts of your personality. Again, you have to use an adjective and then a sentence to explain in more detail about yourself. Your weaknesses has to do with your negative aspects, your negative points, but as I referred, it has to do with, you have to explain with a positive answer. You mentioned something positive. Why? The reason with something positive. Okay. Now, question number 4, where do you see yourself in 5 years? This is a tricky question because they want to know if you plan to continue in the company or not. Okay, that is the question they ask you for. Very careful with this one. So you have to try to explain that you really want to continue in this company. Okay. Question number 5 is what do you know about your company? You have to do some previous study about the company, so you have no problems with the information. Okay. Or if you don't know about the company, then you have a problem. Now, are you serious? Are your intentions serious about the job? Okay. Then you have describe some good points about the company's accomplishment, the service they offers, and or the products if it's depending on the company you're working at, you're planning to work at. Finally, how well you handle change. You have no problems when the situations are different. If they want to change your position or if they want you to work in a different area, so you have to do it and mention it with an experience. Number 7 is, this is a very common question. If you work well under pressure, like the song, you can manage the situation. If you can have no problems with working under pressure, if you are, if you're ready to deal with pressure. And also, as usual, you have to describe with an experience. Finally, how do you make important decisions? What are the steps before you make an important decision? How do you usually take this situation? How do you handle the situation? What is the process of making decisions in your case? Okay, so Sandra, I don't know, you have any questions, anything to tell before we are about to finish in a couple of minutes? Do you have any questions? Do you have anything to tell? I will like your feedback, of course. If you have something to let us know so we can continue with the class or improve the class, please let me know. Do you have any questions here? Any questions, any suggestions? Anything would be helpful for us. All right, thank you. Thank you so much. Very good. Really appreciate your comment. Thank you for your participation. Thank you very much. Well, if there's nothing else you want to mention, I really appreciate your comment. I hope if you enjoyed the class, and in case I will be giving these webinars at 5, starting next year or next week. I'm going to give the classes. I think from the 7th June. Yeah, I think the new year, the 7th, is going to be at 5 p.m. Okay, so if you're interested in any more lessons, I will be giving these webinars at 5 p.m. on Thursdays, like today, but at 5 p.m., not at 10, right? Okay, Thank you very much for your participation. Thank you very much for being here the complete hour. I am going to finish the class for now, and just thanking you for your participation. So I'm finishing now. Hope to see you next class. See you for now. Bye for now. Thank you. Bye bye.